All right, listen up. If this situation in Iran gets worse, which I think it might, your portfolio is about to get hit very hard, harder than you've probably ever seen before. Because here's the problem. Almost everyone is positioned in the exact same way right now. Tech stocks, index funds, growth companies, all things that work great when the economy is stable. But during times like this, when things become unstable, the market doesn't reward growth, it rewards positioning. Money doesn't just disappear when uncertainty rises, it moves. And it moves into very specific places designed to protect and sometimes even benefit from all this chaos. So instead of trying to predict headlines or guess what's going to happen next, I decided to position for it. I built what I call is my Doomsday ETF, a portfolio designed for the worst case scenario. Because the truth is, and I hope none of this happens, but if it does, I don't want to be caught off guard like most people will. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact stocks, ETFs, and trades I'm using to build my Doomsday ETF and how I'm positioning my money if things get worse. Now, quick disclaimer, this isn't for everyone and it's not financial advice. This is just how I prepare, and I am preparing for the worst case scenario. And trust me, this is going to look very different from the usual just hold cash or buy gold approach. All right, so starting off with my first position in the Doomsday ETF, it's going to be Direxion Daily Financial Bear 3X ETF, ticker FAZ. In simple terms, this ETF is designed to go up when financial stocks go down. And not just a little bit, it's a 3X inverse ETF, meaning it amplifies the downside move in the financial sector by 3 times. So this isn't just a hedge, it's essentially a direct bet against banks, lenders, and the broader financial system. Now, the reason I'm including this is because during major global conflicts or economic shocks, the financial system is usually one of the first areas to feel stress. Banks rely heavily on stability, lending, and liquidity, and when uncertainty spikes, credit tightens, lending slows down, and financial stocks tend to get hit early. But the bigger reason why I chose this and what most people aren't noticing is the liquidity side of things. If tensions in the Middle East escalate, especially involving oil, there's a real scenario where massive amounts of capital start moving quickly because a lot of capital comes from sovereign wealth funds, oil revenues, and private market investments tied to that region. So if oil infrastructure gets disrupted or uncertainty increases, that money doesn't just sit still. It often gets pulled out of riskier, illiquid assets and repositioned into safer, more liquid assets. And when liquidity gets pulled out of the system, financial institutions are usually the first to feel it because they're deeply tied to lending, capital flows, and overall market stability. Now, I chose this instead of shorting just an individual bank because it gives me broad exposure across the entire financial sector while reacting quickly to sharp downturns. And in real crisis scenarios, markets don't fall slowly, they drop fast. And this type of ETF is built to capture those sudden moves. Again, like I said, the plays I'm going to be explaining today are a lot more severe than most people are willing to do. But like I said, this is just something for the worst case scenario. All right, now moving into the next position, the next investment in my Doomsday ETF is going to be ProShares Ultra Pro Short, ticker symbol SQQQ. And this is basically my bet against the part of the market that usually gets hit the hardest when conditions tighten. This ETF delivers a 3x inverse of the NASDAQ 100 daily move. So when the NASDAQ drops, this is built to go up. And as we all know, the NASDAQ is heavily concentrated in tech companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, which are also some of the biggest and most liquid companies in the world. Now, the reason I'm choosing this goes beyond just, tech goes down in times of global stress. There's a few things happening at the same time. First, like I mentioned, when liquidity gets pulled from the system, investors often sell their most liquid positions first, and that's going to be these mega cap tech stocks. But on top of that, these companies are also some of the most widely owned assets in the world. They're in index funds, retirement accounts, hedge funds, basically everywhere. So when money starts flowing out of markets, these companies naturally just get hit the worst because of exposure. And another big factor is valuation sensitivity. A lot of these companies are priced based on future growth. And when uncertainty rises, whether it's from war, higher oil prices, rising interest rates, those future earnings become less certain. And that's what leads to something that's called multiple compression, when even strong companies can drop simply because investors are willing to pay less for future growth in a risky environment. And there's also a global angle here. Many of these tech companies generate a large portion of their revenue internationally. So if a global economy slows down, supply chains get disrupted or currencies fluctuate, it can directly impact these companies' earnings. So now you have a situation where they're getting pressure from liquidity, valuations, and a global exposure all at once. And that can only lead to one thing. That's why I chose this instead of just shorting a single stock, because again, it gives me a broad exposure to the entire tech-heavy part of the market, especially the names that tend to move the fastest during economic downturns. All right, now moving on to the next position in my Doomsday ETF. This one's going to be a little different, but it's going to be a short position in Lucid. And the reason has less to do with the car itself, but more to do with who's funding the company. Lucid is heavily tied to Saudi Capital, with the Saudi Public Investment Fund owning around 60% of the company. And what makes this interesting is that now Lucid isn't just a typical EV company competing for market share. It's also very dependent on continued funding for scaling production and long-term capital support. And as of 2026, the company is still operating at a loss, and it's trying to ramp up productions with billions in capital expenditures coming up. And when you dig deeper, that Saudi connection goes beyond just ownership. It includes credit facilities and multiple rounds of fundings tied back into the same capital source. So the overall thing here is pretty unique. If the Saudis ever face a real liquidity shock, or if rising geopolitical tensions forces them to prioritize their domestic stability over external investments like Lucid, well, Lucid becomes vulnerable very quickly, because this isn't just a growth company, it's a company that depends very heavily on continued funding. And I like this position because it adds something different to this portfolio. Most of my other plays are broad, macro-driven trends, but Lucid is much more targeted. It's a way to express the idea that when stress hits a specific region, it can ripple into specific companies that rely on capital to survive. All right, and now moving into my last position into my Doomsday ETF, this is going to be shorting NVIDIA, more specifically buying puts on NVIDIA, because in my opinion, this is the stock that matters the most when the market starts to crack or crash. NVIDIA is currently the largest weighing in the S&P 500 at around 7%, which makes it one of the biggest pillars holding up the entire stock market. So this isn't just a bet against one company, it's a bet against one of the market's key support levels. Because when a stock like NVIDIA falls, it doesn't happen in isolation. It impacts sentiment, puts pressure on index funds, and can accelerate broader selling across the entire market. And another reason is because NVIDIA sits right at the center of the whole AI spending boom. A huge part of its valuation depends on big tech continuing to spend aggressively on data centers, chips, and AI infrastructure. But if this geopolitical tension pushes energy prices higher and, uncertainty increases, well, there's a real risk that companies start pulling back on that spending. So if CapEx slows down, NVIDIA is going to be the first thing getting hit. And on top of that, this is one of the most crowded trades in the entire market. It's widely owned across index funds, institutions, and huge traders trade this because of how much volume is included with NVIDIA. So if investors start de-risking, this is exactly the kind of thing that will go from a must-own stock to a must-sell right away stock very quickly. And that kind of shift can create a strong, fast downside pressure on the entire market. And the reason I prefer using puts here is because it lets me define my risk while still taking advantage of that potential downside. So for me, this isn't about just saying NVIDIA is a bad company or it's a business that doesn't make any money. It's about recognizing that it's one of the most important pressure points in the entire market right now. And if AI spending slows, liquidity tightens, or like I said, the broader market starts to unwind and de-risk, this is one of the first places I'd expect pressure to show up and the price to fall. So yeah, this is my Doomsday ETF portfolio. And if you zoom out, like I said, the goal isn't to predict exactly what's going to happen. It's to be prepared for what could happen, because the main idea is simple. When uncertainty rises, money doesn't just disappear, it moves. It moves out of risk, out of crowded trades, and into positions that either benefit from stress or are built to withstand it. That's why this isn't just one trade, it's a mix of positions built around a single macro idea of what could happen if things get worse. Now, like I said, this approach isn't for everyone, and it definitely leans more on the aggressive side of things. But the truth is no one knows what's going to happen. There's so many news articles coming out every single day of this side saying that, of that side saying that. And again, I hope none of this happens. I hope everything gets sorted out very quickly. But if it does, I'd rather be positioned correctly than caught off guard. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe for more breakdowns like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.